Well, absolutely, because I always, whenever we have our powerlifters come on, I always love to say, like with bodybuilding, it's about the aesthetic look, whereas powerlifting, it's about the results that you get from
Exactly.
working out. I mean, it's about, those weights. So like if you're a bodybuilder and you normally can bench, like 200 pounds and you go in there and you can only put up, like 150, that's fine because you're
Exactly.
still building, you're still building the aesthetic look. So yeah, I mean, 100%. And you have those days like you said, no, I mean, like if you're sick, you're not going to bench as much, or you just have those normal
Exactly.
days where you don't might not have eaten as much the day before, the day that you're now, and then you just don't have that energy. So it's a huge. And how do you deal with that mentally though too, knowing that you could bench a certain weight one time, or you could squat a certain weight one day, and the very next day it's not guaranteed to happen.
Yeah. See, so I'm actually very good on visualization. So my brother has kind of instilled this in me. So I write everything down. Like if I were to switch my camera around, I have a mirror and it says, you can do it. And I have all my numbers that I want to hit. And I have those numbers written probably three other times throughout my house, and I visually see them consistently. So it's not a matter of, okay, I failed today, but I have this goal in my mind and I'm gonna reach it. Like there's no doubt in my mind I'm gonna hit it. You have to full blown convince yourself that it's possible and that you will do it. Even if you mess up one day, we got to come back home and it's like a new day tomorrow. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? I'm very big on just like getting those negative images out.
Absolutely. It's, you know, just realizing that it's going to take a long time too, especially to get those results. Because I always like to say with our generation, I mean, I'm 24 myself, our generation, everyone wants the results now and they want them yesterday, and they're not willing to, wait the amount of time that it takes. And I always say, just give it a couple of months. And then once you see those results though, it's really infectious. But how long did it take you before you finally decided that you want to do a powerlifting meet? How long into your training?
So I had met my team, my powerlifting gym, Hellbent Barbell, January of 2017. My first meet was March. So it was, yeah, I was 2 months in and I was ready to go. And then and it was only a push pull, meaning they wanted to just get my feet wet. So we did just a bench press and a deadlift, as opposed to in powerlifting, you do a squat, a bench, and a deadlift. That's a full meet. So my first full meet that I did, it was in that same year. So I started in January. My first full meet, I believe, was in April, and I actually hit my pro total that the first meet. So I was like, I almost just felt at that moment, I felt like this is me. Like I finally feel like I'm in my niche and that I'm gonna do this, you know?
So, what is the training like specifically for a powerlifting meet? Because I mean, all of the bodybuilders that we've had on, their training is completely different. How do you train for a powerlifting meet? Are there certain ways that you make sure that your body is going to be ready that day of the powerlifting meet to lift as much weight as possible? Do you sort of lay off a little bit of the training right before the show to make sure that your body's recovered? What are some ways that you use?
Absolutely. So it's called like the peaking cycle. So we have a bunch of just our training cycles that we do. And then there's a peaking cycle, which is usually like 5 weeks that you kind of start. I use the fifth set program by Swede Burns. So I follow a specific program, but I find that this is pretty generic with most lifters. Like this, he has like specific little numbers he wants you to hit, but generically this will work. It's usually like 5 weeks out where you kind of take your old, like a 90% of your old max, you do like your numbers for the first week. The next week, you actually take a new max. So you do max out before your meet. You take a whole full new max just to see where your numbers are at. And then from there, you base those next 2 weeks out. So now I'm talking 4 weeks. The next 2 weeks, you base it upon 90% and then 80% of that new max. So you're kind of just getting your body used to that heavy load. So now you found your new max. Now you're getting your body used to just being heavy. And then you take that last week and you find like your opener. So first for powerlifting, you do 3 attempts per lift. And your first attempt is called your opener. And you want it to be something that you know that you can do. It's easy for you. It's that way you get your number and you're not stressed anymore. And it was easy as a confidence builder. So it's usually like 90% of your max, 85% of your max. So
So,
you
so
just
if you
take.
don't hit that one, you know that you're in trouble, basically.
So it's scary because it's something called a bomb out, which if you miss all three of your lifts, then you are no longer in the competition. And even if you had your squat, if you bomb out on your bench, your squat no longer counts. So it's huge. I would say yeah, because as long as you get that first one, then you're solid. Because even if you fail your next 2 attempts, you could still continue on to bench. You know what I mean? So it's scary. Yeah, it's a scary thing because that's why I said it's a confidence builder and you want to do it light because it's like your biggest moment where if like you begin your competition with a fail, it stinks. Really, it's hard. So So yeah, so that's kind of like that's you that last week you do an opener and then you take like 6 weeks, 6 days from competition, you take 50% of your max for all three of the attempts in that one day and then you rest. You don't touch your weight, you don't do anything until meet day and you're usually just boom, ready.
Yeah, I mean, just the differences in the training is just so fascinating because, just all of the different guests that we have on the show. But when you do go to these powerlifting meets, I mean, you see a lot of people use different things in order to get themselves psyched up for a lift. Like
Oh yeah.
a lot of people just yell and scream and they just look
Yeah, yeah.
insane, or they
Yeah.
they pound their chest, or someone just
Yeah,
slaps
yeah.
them really hard in the back.
Like King Kong trap slaps. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
They
if
do
someone
ammonia. They
yeah,
smell
oh
ammonia.
yeah, yep, yep. And it's honestly, if someone slapped me in the back, I'd be like, okay, you want to fight?
Yeah.
Like, you going outside? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
personally don't like that either. I
yeah,
don't like to be slapped. I don't like to I have actually never done the
yeah.
smelling salts either. The smelling ammonia either. I'm like huge into music, so that's like my own personal thing that amps me up enough. If I have my headphones on, I get in my zone. But you're actually not allowed to listen to music while you're lifting. But they usually do have some type of song on. It's usually not the best one, but some type of song on. Everybody's so different, and I love it. I love to see everyone's hype. I mean, that's
Oh
just
yeah.
so interesting because you can see that passion
Mhm.
behind them. You know?
Oh, 100%. But like, yeah, those people that get slapped. First of all, I would be like, God, my back's gonna be sore as
Yeah.
shit for this. I was like, I don't even know if I can get this lifted now because you're just slapped. But yeah, I mean, just seeing all those different ways too, it is super, super fascinating for me. But do you sometimes ever feel like when you're in the gym and you have to get yourself psyched up? Do you ever feel like really drained afterwards that like you can't keep doing it? Because I know that like if I ever got myself like really pumped up, especially for like a big game when I was pitching, like after that, I'm out of it for at least another day afterwards because I'm just so drained from, getting so psyched up for it.
Yeah. Well, the day after competition, I'm drained, but after just psyching myself up, like if I were to do a heavy lift at the gym and I get psyched up, no, I'm gonna have to go with the no because I think my psych is just like I get psyched up, and then when I do it and it works, I'm even more psyched.
Yeah.
It's like, but now I'm on like cloud nine, you know.
Yeah.
I think lifting itself is my adrenaline rush. So if I'm doing it, I'm like at my highest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think the difference between that is because with me, like after you're done pitching your arm, you do need to rest it for, like 5 days afterwards. So
Yeah,
I was like, yeah,
exactly.
so I think I kind of just expected myself, like knowing like I'm going to get a huge rest after I'm done with this.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
pump it up. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally just understand, that feeling of just getting so intense and so passionate. And I always tell people it's like find that one thing in your life that you do show that passion and just makes you
Yeah.
feel so alive. If you find that, I mean, your life is going to be, so much
Exactly. And
better.
it doesn't even have to be fitness related.
Hmm.
I mean, if they just find something, just one, like, just take an hour of your day and do that one thing that you love and so intently, just once, just throughout the day. I mean, your life is so much better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I mean, I do that with working out still now, and I do that also with podcasting. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have the two things now, so that's good. But I always love to ask all of my guests that I have on the show. I mean, I'll ask them, all of them, either they be my bands or my health and fitness or any professors that I have on for my bands. I always like to ask, what is it like performing live on stage? For my bodybuilders, I like to say, what's it like going up on stage and showing off, all of that hard work that you've worked months upon months, and that also applies to powerlifting. So what's it like at those meets when you get to go in front of all these people that are normally just cheering you on, and you get to just show off, all of that hard work that you put in the gym? What is that feeling like for you?
Personally. So so my next meet is the Arnold Classic in Ohio, and I am like scared because this is like the biggest meet. I mean, it's going to be broadcasted live.
Mhm.
And you know how big the expo is. It's going
Yep.
to be huge. So I have to say, like, especially like the first few times, my anxiety is super high the day before, but day of, I'm like I said, I'm very visual and I convince myself. I really do. I am like I hype myself up. So I go in there thinking like I am going to show them like I can do this. And usually, if you see some of my videos before I go to my lifts and I'm going like this to the
Mhm.
crowd, I need them. Like I actually need them to stand up. I need them to yell my name. I need them. I want to feel as if I cannot let them down because they're
Mhm.
looking at me. So it's almost just I put a lot of pressure on myself, but in a good way. I just feel like I can't let the judge down. He's looking right at me. He's looking for me to fail. I'm not going to let him down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
So it's like,
yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, it's the mental game too, an aspect of it because I mean, there, like I could name studies after studies that have shown, mentally you can increase your strength exponentially
exactly.
if you just have that belief, because I can guarantee you, if no one was clapping, if no one was cheering, you probably wouldn't be able to lift most of those weights that you did.
Agreed.
If everyone was just silent, everyone was just like, "Oh, you suck" or whatever. When like you're about
Yeah,
to lift, it's like,
exactly.
yeah. So 100%, just having that positivity and having. Do you also like to lift when you're angry? Because I know a lot of powerlifters sometimes like that too. They like to get really really angry because they have that extra. Well, especially the guys, and they have that extra
Yeah.
testosterone then really drives them. But do you ever like to lift angry? Or is it one of those things where you find when you're angry it distracts? It's a little bit distracting.
It is actually very abnormal not to be angry when you're
Yeah.
lifting, especially for a power lifter. I mean, if you go to these meets, these people are just animals in the back. They're just like throwing weights down, they're sniffing their salts, they're
Yeah.
throwing things to the ground, getting to the bar, throwing chalk on themselves, and they're just like they're in this place that nobody can come. And I think what makes me a little bit different, I actually think it's gained attention in a positive way though, is that like I said, I love to amp up the crowd. I love to smile. So I almost am like a performer in a way. I don't know if I do it on purpose or if it's a personality thing, but I truly just, I'm happy. I am at my happiest, most excited moment when I'm there. So you'll see me get under the bar. And when I'm getting under the bar, I have a mean face on. So I'm angry in regards to the bar, but as soon as I'm under and I unrack it, I know I have it and my smile will sneak out. Like you'll see me get angry and then I'll start squatting and then I'll smile on the way up, like because I know I got it. So
That
it's different, I think.
yeah, that's so awesome. And we see behind you that you have a couple of trophies. What are those trophies for? What competitions are those for?
Yes. So my first push pull was this little guy. So that was exciting. And then I have a award here for this is when I told you I hit my pro total for my first competition. I hit a world record and New York state record at the same time and I hit my pro total.
Jeez.
So that was huge for me. I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
This was a huge competition, Cincinnati Women's Pro Am. I'm probably going to do it again this year. This was also broadcasted live. I think it was like 40,000 people watching.
Wow.
And these were all first place. I have one of them. I won $100 for the best raw bench press. So
Wow.
that was awesome. So I have the envelope that they gave it to me in. So
What trophy is that skull cup thing?
this guy or this one?
That one, the one on the left. Yeah.
This one,
Yeah.
he's let's see, which one was this? I think that was like my third meet.
Oh.
Nothing like crazy happened there, but I
Yeah.
did win first place.
Well, I was gonna say, anytime you get a trophy like that, I was like, okay, yeah, that's an
They're
attention getter right there. Yeah.
they're badass,
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're absolutely best. I mean, we see the bodybuilding trophies, and it's just normally just like someone posing, but yeah, you actually get some cool looking trophies for
Oh yeah.
powerlifting.
Oh, there you even have like there's one has like a bench presser, a
Yeah.
squatter, and a deadlifter on it. You actually get to choose. My federation is RPS. You
Oh.
actually get to choose which one that you get. You have an array of them,
Oh
and you
wow.
choose your favorite one, and they give you the little first place plaque to put on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. There's
Another.
different
Yeah.
colors. Like my girlfriend collects the one. I have one of my teammates. She's a power
Hmm.
lifter and she loves skulls. She
Yeah.
gets like different colored skulls every time. So she has like a pink one, a black one, a gold one.
I was gonna say, like, the Scandinavian Viking blood in me. It saw that skull cup, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that's awesome. So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, another perk to powerlifting, you get to choose your own trophies. But
yeah. I know.
yeah, so how have your friends reacted? The ones that have known you before you took up powerlifting, how have they sort of looked at you, or how have they been different since you've taken on this powerlifting journey?
So I gotta say, they've never once made me feel like outcasted by it because this is like it's definitely taken up my
Mhm,
whole life. But like sometimes, like if I'm out to dinner with my girlfriends, which is every Friday night, so that's tonight, I'll put my hair up when I'm eating, and they always are like, "Your arms." They're like, "Your arms are just so big." So I get comments like that. They've actually never seen me lift. If that, believe it or not, they've never like have seen me lift
mhm,
before. But they obviously follow me on my Instagram, so they see that, but they've never seen me in person. But they definitely comment on like my body changes.
mhm.
I think that they're more surprised than anything, but I mean, they got my back.
Oh yeah, 100, and that's so great. Like, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have that support system for anything that you do in life. Just to know that there are people that have your back, because we have had people on here that didn't have that, and it just becomes an
Yeah,
extra added struggle. Just
yeah.
realizing that like, hey, I'm on this on my own. But yeah, having that support, and how's your dad reacted to it? I mean, is he really proud that he has a daughter now that it was in the same thing that he was into?
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
ecstatic. I mean, I remember when I first began, he would send me like big protein things, BCAAs. Like when I first started lifting, he was like, Do it, do it. Here's a belt, here's knee wraps, here's this and that. And then now I'm getting to such scary numbers that when I call him and I'm like, Dad, I just did this. And he's like, okay, just how are your knees? I think he's getting to the point where he's like, I didn't think you were going to escalate this.
Once you start hitting numbers bigger than him, then he'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
what are
exactly.
you, what's going on, Jordan?
Yeah,
Like, let's be,
exactly.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just so amazing what the body can do. And do you ever sort of scare yourself thinking about the numbers that you sometimes put up where you're just like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this?
Yeah, I mean, if you see like my last competition, you see me come off of the bench press, and I literally, I mean, I did my numbers so quickly. I
Yeah.
got up and I was like, that was my face when I was on the bench. I just looked at the crowd and I was like, what just happened? Like, I don't even like know what just happened. I surprise myself every darn time. I swear to God.
I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, just putting up that massive amount of weight is just for me. Like I said, when I saw her numbers, which we'll talk about at the end, like I said before, but when I saw her numbers, I was just like, "Holy crap, she needs to be on the podcast." I mean, it's so. Also, what is your routine like after a show? Because you can be like really drained out emotionally and
Oh,
physically.
yeah.
How are you able to recover from that? What do you do specifically?
So it's exhausting. I mean, like you are shot. It's usually also like the day of the competition could be up to 8 to 9 hours, the competition itself. So I mean, you are just first of all, you're starving, right? So you eat a lot. And I usually take about a week off, just because you're so sore, and I'll do just a ton of Epsom salt baths, stretching. My brother is a chiropractor, and I go to see him. So he does cupping, acupuncture, stretches me out, completely takes care of me. He does that actually pre and post competition. So I do a lot. I mean, it's mostly recovery. And then, like I said, food. I eat everything.